Greetings and welcome to the Daily Devo for this Tuesday, the 24th of January. We continue to go with our book Meditations on the Trinity, writings collected from A.W. Tozer's various teachings, preachings, writings, and put together by Moody Press. Today's is entitled The Sum of All Patience. The Sum of All Patience. And this comes from a book entitled The Root of Righteousness. The Root of Righteousness. The sum of all patience, Hebrews 12:6, the Lord disciplines the one he loves, and he chastens everyone he accepts as his child. Unfortunately, many Christians cannot get free from their perverted notions of God, and these notions poison their hearts and destroy their inward freedom. These friends serve God grimly, as the elder brother did, doing what is right without enthusiasm and without joy, and seem altogether unable to understand the buoyant, spirited, celebrated when the prodigal son comes home. Their idea of God rules out the possibility of his being happy in his people, and they attribute the singing and shouting to sheer fanaticism. Unhappy souls these, doomed to go heavily on their melancholy way, grimly determined to do right if the heavens fall, and to be on the winning side in the day of judgment. How good it would be if we could learn that God is easy to live with. He remembers our frame. He knows that we are but dust. He may sometimes chasten us, it is true, but even this he does with a smile, the proud, tender smile of a father who is bursting with pleasure over an imperfect but promising child who is coming every day to look more and more like the one whose child he is. Some of us are religiously jumpy and self-conscious because we know that God sees our every thought and is acquainted with all our ways. We need not be. God is the sum of all patience and the essence of all kindly goodwill. We please him most, not by frantically trying to make ourselves good, but by throwing ourselves into his arms with all of our imperfections and believing that he understands everything and loves us still. I think the problem we often have is that we see God to be like us. We're impatient. We can be unkind. We can be unforgiving. But that's our fallen nature, and God doesn't have a fallen nature. God is love. Yes, those he loves, the writer of the Hebrews tells us in another passage, those whom he loves, he disciplines. He chastens everyone. He accepts as his son there in Hebrews 12. If you love your child, you correct them because you see behaviors in them that aren't good for them, that will not lead them to a good place. It's when we don't love that we don't discipline. And that's what a lot of people want from God. They want that kindly old man who'll just say, oh, that's okay, and pat us on the head and let us go our merry way. But God isn't like that. He loves us. And so he wants the best for us. And sometimes that implies reward. Sometimes that implies some strict teaching. Sometimes that implies discipline in our lives. But he is, at the end of it all, long-suffering and patient toward us. He is a loving God. Blessings to you today. make sure to dwell on this reality of our God.